Welcome to the Lady Nighthawk Show, where we talk about interesting topics. Tonight, you already know my guest, but you know he's our co-host to the co-host to the co-host. Okay, so have him introduce himself because you do need to know what, for those that have not seen or met him before, you need to know what it is that he does, and I'm gonna let him introduce himself.
Good evening. My name is Donald Bell. I'm an attorney here in Maryland, specifically here in Prince George's County. I am very happy to be here with you, and thank you for inviting me back.
Well, you know, it's always, when we don't see you, I miss you, because we didn't see you for a month, and it was like, wow, what's going on? So, you know, I know you've been very, very busy, and this is a busy time of the year, you know.
We out there fighting the good fight, you know, trying to help people save their homes, you know, from foreclosure, you know, trying to help people with all sorts of issues and problems and things of that nature. So.
Yeah, because you do bankruptcy claims too, and then you do help the veterans.
Yes.
You know, you do that. That's a big thing that you do.
Yes.
And so it's a lot of things that you do outside of what you've been doing. And congratulations, because this is your milestone, 20 years.
This is my 20th year practicing law.
Yes.
So 2024 is year 20 for me. So, and I've spent all 20 years here in Prince George's County. I came to Prince George's County and I fell in love with it, with the people. And, you know, I've been here, you know, trying, you know,
to fight the good fight.
Fight the good fight.
Yeah, and look, I might, you know, I'm about almost 16 years on this studio. Okay. Okay. So I'm not. You're gonna still move along, but it's almost 16 years I've been on this studio, and it's like, you know, this is my relaxation. You know, out of all of the stress that I might have, or sicknesses or illnesses that I might have, when I come in here, I always say what Tom says, because he said, I don't care. Paula's gonna be in here whether she broke a foot, broke a toe, on a cane, sick as a dog. She gonna be here, you know. And
well, I've been here when you've had the boot on. I've been here when you had the cast on your hand.
And, yeah. And I had the boot, and I had one of the soft casts on my leg. Yeah, and so now,
that is true.
Yeah, that's what he says. He says she's going to be here regardless of what. Even if I have to let my guests talk, because David was here last week from State Farm Insurance, and my voice was horrible. And Tom said, I don't know how you're going to talk. And Dave said, we don't know. And Dave did those two shows, basically. I sat here and might have, you know, interjected a few times, but he gave us, and they were two different shows that he talked about, and he kept us entertained. Okay? And I say that he's a man that knows everything. Okay.
Well, Dave's a good guy, but he's an interesting guy.
Yes, he very, very much so. You know. But every time he tells me that he's from Arkansas, you know, I asked him again last week, man, how you wind up in Arkansas? He said, well, that's where my grandmother was from, and during slave times, that's where they were from, you know. And he said she stays there, you know. And, you know, and she carries a gun because it's legal. And the only two people she let in the house is the milkman and the insurance agent guy, you know. And he's told us that before, like you told me earlier. But it just amazes me that every time he says, well, even though he moved south, because his grandparents, no, grandmother's in Arkansas. His parents must be in the South. Okay. Because he was, you know, eventually he was in the South. And I'm saying, okay, I could see you being in the South, but I can't see you being in Arkansas. But if he was a little kid, you know what I mean, then I guess it didn't matter because home was home.
Well, I've been to Arkansas. Yeah. And I grew up in Alabama.
Okay.
Arkansas is just like it's the South.
Oh, it is?
It's the South.
It's more south, okay.
Yeah, it is south. I mean, it's like located like kind of Midwest, Southwest, because I think it's right above Texas. Okay. But, so it is sort of Midwest, but the people there are Southern.
Okay.
They're more Southern than Midwestern, in my opinion.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Well, that's probably why. Yeah. Okay, because you know, every time he says that, I'm you're the only person that I know that's from Arkansas. Okay. Yeah. And it kind of when he says that,
people from Arkansas tend to go you know, they tend to stay in the Midwest, maybe Chicago, Detroit. I mean, that's probably where they migrated to. Chicago, Detroit, or maybe out west to like California or places like that. So you don't see very many people from Arkansas that have come, you know, to the East Coast.
Oh yeah, and move south.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it does. I mean, he's the only person. He's the only person that I know from Arkansas.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, a lot of people from the South may have sort of migrated to the Midwest because, you know, there was probably more opportunity to own land, and you know, in the Midwest versus, you know, down south.
Well, I think that he said that his grandma was actually a slave, so that was her home all her life.
Yes.
You know, and her grandfather learned was a businessman.
Okay.
And so he had acres of land.
Yes.
Okay, and they still got acres of land. You know, so and I guess that's where he gets because his grandmother and his grandfather were very educated, even during that time, whatever education that you could get. And then, you know, his parents were educated, you know, so I guess that's why he's very well versed on a lot of things, you know, because he is. I mean, you know, and so are you know, I mean, you're very well versed on a lot of things too. And, you know, that's why when I know that I'm only going to have one guest and I know it's you, him, I don't worry. Okay, because I know that y'all can carry the show.
Well, luckily we weren't here together, because you wouldn't have got a word in had we been here together.
I didn't say anything. Period. I might have said
you would have gotten up and walked off the set had it been the two of us.
No, I wouldn't have. No, I wouldn't have, because I couldn't talk. Okay, so I enjoyed it. I mean, I really enjoyed it. I mean, I had to say something every now and then. You know what I mean? But other than that, no, I didn't say nothing. He carried those two shows. I have to say, give him credit. And he talked and he does what we do. We don't talk about the same thing. We might give you the same information, but it's not the same way. But he actually did two totally different shows. Okay, I have to tell you. Okay, so and he had Tom and I laughing for a minute though. I mean, I could hear Tom, you know, but I don't think my guest could, but I could hear him, and I was laughing because it was some funny stuff that he was saying. Okay, but anyway.
Well, I'm glad you're feeling better.
Well, I'm
happy to see you, because I hadn't seen you in a month, so I'm glad you're feeling better.
I'm glad that you just don't know, Dawn. I mean, it has been rough. It's been 3 months, and it's been really rough. And you know, trying different things, you know, and taking this, and the doctor say do this, and go see this doctor, go see that doctor. You know, it's been really rough.
Well, I know I've been praying for you, and I think people out, you know, on TV land have been praying for you too. So.
And I did a Good Friday service, and my daughter was the mistress, not mistress of ceremony, you don't call her, but she was the person that led the service. And then when it was up for me to do this skit, this reenactment of the 7 last words, my voice was so messed up that it was like, guys, I really apologize. I'm glad the skit is not that long, you know, but it was just really, really bad. And then I was glad I was finished. You know, so that the other people could do what they had to do. But, you know, God is awesome. I mean, that was at the last minute somebody asked me to do. And he just worked it out, and it worked out. We had the kids and, you know, stuff, and it was really good. And Micah, who is a singer, she's also a thespian. She came all dressed up in her nice little garb, because they were the crowd. They were the crowd scene that was talking about crucify him, right? And so Paul was Jesus, and we have a real cross. I mean, it's really interesting. Yeah. And it turned out good for the very last minute at the church that we were in, and I thank God for that. You know, it was nobody but him. And like, you know, obedience is better than sacrifice with me. So when he tells me to do something, I just do it, you know, and I just don't even worry, because I know that it's going to turn out to be okay. Paul can tell me, we need to do because we did the Last Supper one year.
Oh, really?
Yes, we did. We did the Last Supper, and we did the 7 last words, and we had that table laid out, you know. And then afterwards, everybody was able to eat. You know. We had some of it was Seder, and then some of it was regular, you know, fruits and things, you know. And so Paul said, we need to just put that out there on the internet, and just do the whole, you know, from Palm Sunday, because we do from Palm Sunday all the way through, and put that on tape and put it out there and have for next year. I mean, he was pumped up this year. But anyway, I thank everybody that was able to participate in that and that were able to come, because I know that was nobody but God. But you know, it's interesting things because that right after the Holy Week, and then you know they get ready to have Ramadan that's getting ready to come up. I saw that on television the other night.
And then you got Passover.
Yes.
Is that next week?
It must be Passover. Was it Passover? Please forgive me because if I'm saying
I think
this
Ramadan
wrong.
may have already had.
Okay, and then
maybe
Passover's coming up. Yeah.
Yes.
It's Passover. Ramadan's already came.
Yes.
But right after Easter, for them to have that bombing over there in Israel, I think that was a shame. And I'm not going to say any more about that, but I just really thought that was a shame that it was right after Holy Week that they bombed that place. And they said that they really, on the news, they actually said that those people that were bombing them were really don't like Donald Trump. And they said if they can get their hands, it was on the news, that if they could get their hands on Donald Trump, that that's who they're looking for, you know, because they didn't appreciate that they killed his leader, the leader, and I guess he must have had a bombing or something that went on. I don't even remember what it was, but they do, because the news actually said that they want to kill Donald Trump. So.
Well, all I'm going to say is that, you know, this is a dangerous world. Mm-hmm. You know, once you get outside of the United States, you just don't know how blessed you are to live in this country. Mm-hmm. But it's a dangerous world out there, mm-hmm. and there are a lot of people out there who are suffering. Mm-hmm. And, you know, a lot of innocent people get caught up. Mm-hmm. A lot of politics, mm-hmm. you know, a lot of people who, you know, all they really want is destruction and chaos. Mm-hmm. So, you know, we just have to be vigilant and very careful, you know, we have to really, really, really stay prayed up. Mm-hmm. Stay really prayed up. But this is it's a dangerous world, and you know, there are a lot of bad things that are going on, and you know, the United States cannot retreat into its borders. You know, we got to step up, and we got to show leadership, and we got to say what's right and what's wrong. Mm-hmm. And we got to be willing to put our money where our mouth is. And I know a lot of people say, well, why are we sending all this aid here and there and there? Mm-hmm. Is because if we don't, mm-hmm. if we step back and we just say nothing and say, hey, we're just going to take care of us, mm-hmm. you know, all of those bad things that are happening there, they're going to be happening here.
They're happening here. And nobody's going to come to our aid. And I don't think that's what people understand, that each country has to be supportive of another country, so that if they need you, you got somebody, an ally, you know. If we have no allies, then we're in trouble.
Yes.
Okay? Because they're showing us that those missiles and things that they're shooting now are long range. You know, they don't have to even step outside their border to be shooting whatever they're shooting. You know what I mean? And so, you know, I think it was last year sometime that somebody was shooting, they were practicing up there near Alaska somewhere. I think it was China was shooting, you know, missiles and stuff, not towards anybody, but they were practicing to see whether or not these missiles, how far the range was that they would go.
You know, the North Koreans are always,
practicing.
Shooting off those long range, mm-hmm. you know, because they're testing them. Mm-hmm. They're trying to see, like, okay, you know, how far can these go? Mm-hmm. You know, whether or not they're gonna explode on the way. Mm-hmm. You know, so I mean, they're getting ready.
So that's
the reason why, you know, we have to stay vigilant as a country. Mm-hmm. So, you know, you have to understand that the reason why we have aid to these countries is because we are trying to maintain our way of life here.
Yes.
And, you know, and if we fail to do that, if we fail to help other countries, then those same bad things mm-hmm. that are happening in those bombings, mm-hmm. you know, mm-hmm. You know, those type of things, mm-hmm. they'll be right here. They'll be right here on our border.
Yeah, because they're practicing. I mean, I think that was a test run. And it was good that Israel had the
and these countries, they're testing us.
Yeah.
They're saying, what
are we going to do?
What are we going to do?
Yeah, and that's exactly what they said on the news, that they were testing us to see now, because they had said that somebody, I don't know whether it was a House Speaker or not, they were trying to see if they were going to get him to vote to get out of that, you know, and so if I'm wrong, please forgive me, because it was last week. And what happened was they said that if we got involved in it, then, you know, they were going to come after us, you know. And they were waiting for the president to say whatever he was going to do if that was the case. Donald Trump was saying the opposite. We don't need to get involved. And based on the news, you know, Donald Trump is the reason why they mad with us anyway, you know.
Well, you know, I will say this, and this is sort of my observation. After World War II, the United States guaranteed the freedom and guaranteed the safety of Europe, okay? Because World War II completely destroyed Europe. And the Soviets were gonna come in and they were gonna take over. So the reason why, you know, most of the world has progressed so much is because of United States foreign aid. You know, I'm not saying that we've been perfect. I mean, we can look to Vietnam, we can look to some other places where, you know, maybe we haven't always done the right thing. But, you know, the reason why there's stability, the reason why the United States economy has grown, you know, the reason why we have, people want to come to this country is because of, you know, what the United States has done to sort of stabilize the world economy and sort of stabilize with our military, geopolitical actions throughout the world. And in my opinion, and this is my opinion, Donald Trump wants to counteract that. He wants to pull us out of NATO. Okay, he wants, and you hear these people talking about, you know, we need to take care of our own borders, we need to do this, we need to do that. So they don't want the United States to sort of be this world dominating power. And I think that's a very dangerous position to be in, because history will repeat itself. If you look back at World War I and World War II, where millions, and I think billions of people died, okay? And it was because the United States failed to act. The United States retreated within their borders after World War I. And you had Adolf Hitler and Benito Mussolini, and then you had the Japanese, and, you know, millions and millions and millions of people died because the United States was not there, was not showing leadership. And that's why I think it's so important. People got to see beyond what's going on right here and now. But there are geopolitical things that are happening, you know, in this world. And if certain people, you know, get back into office, okay, there's going to be pure chaos in this world. And in 10 to 15 years, that chaos is going to be right here. You know. And
they're practicing, because we have submarines, they show up every so often that are on the border on this East Coast, that they see that are foreign countries, that submarines, and they catch it on camera, that they let us know, you know, that, yeah, somebody's seen it, yeah, it's not us, yep, it's a foreign country. I mean, you know, right up on our border, right, you know, that's scary by itself, okay? And, you know.
So I do believe we got to do more.
Yeah.
We got to do more. We got to do more to protect our border. We got to do more to you know, create a safe homeland. You know, we do have to do more, but we cannot, because you know, many moons ago I was in the Marine Corps, and you know,
and I salute you.
And one of my leaders always, you know, one of the things that one of the people who was in charge, one of my leaders would always say is, either you lead or step out of the way and let somebody else lead. Now is not the time for the United States to step out of the way. Okay? We have to assume the position that we have created, the United States has created, and we got to show leadership because
And Biden
if we
did
don't,
do that. He did.
I agree with you.
He did do that. He did step in. Okay, they were, even though Congress was saying no, he stepped in and did the right thing.
Yeah.
You know, he doesn't want us to come out of NATO, and people need to pay attention, you know, to what's going on in the news, because we have an election that's coming up. Okay,
I
May
agree with you
14th, right here in
100%.
PG County, we're getting ready to have an election for a Senate race. Okay, and so you need to read and do your homework and find out who's running in these races, okay? Find out the ones that's been there forever that you just keep on voting and voting and voting for. Find out what they're voting for. Are they still believing in what they told you originally when you put them in office? Or are they doing something totally different now? Because we had a totally different president before that took control over a lot of places in our government. And so we need to look and see whether or not those people are doing what you need for them to do, or are they doing what somebody else wants them to do, okay? Now, you have Angela Alsobrooks and you have David Trone that's running against each other. And then you have Governor Hogan that's running for the Republican Party. So you need to look. You need to look and you need to read and see who else is running, okay? Because somebody else is running against the governor because he came in late, okay?
Yeah.
I'm talking about Governor Hogan, okay? He came in the race late, so somebody else is out there. Look and see what they're doing. May 14th is around the corner, guys. You need to be trying to pay attention to see who it is that you're trying to vote for, okay?
And I want to just add this. That race is going to be a pivotal race to determine what party controls the Senate right now. Because right now, I think the Senate is split 50-50, and then you have Kamala Harris, who is the vice president. So she's the president of the Senate. So she gets to, you know, she gets that tying vote, or it may be 51-49. I think it may be 51-49.
Yeah, I think it's 51-49.
It may be 51-49. But let's just assume, I mean, because we have a very popular person running on the Republican side, and he's qualified, very, very qualified to be a senator. But if he wins that race, okay, that could very well flip, you know, the Senate, because Maryland has always been a very strong, well, not always, but, you know, over the last 25 years, it's been a very strong, you know, has a very strong Democratic sort of stance, you know, as far as the senators are concerned. But, you know, there's a real possibility that Maryland could flip, you know, control of the Senate, because we have a very real possibility that we have a very strong Republican candidate who's going to do very well in Western Maryland, Eastern Maryland, Northern Maryland, you know, Southern Maryland, you know. So it's possible that, you know, you could have a popular, well-educated, well-versed, you know, very well-qualified Republican win that race. So that's why it's so important for you guys to get out and see get out and vote and see who supports your positions, and vote for the appropriate person. I'm not endorsing anyone. I'm not telling you to vote Democrat. I'm not telling you to vote Republican. But I'm just telling you that this is not a rubber stamp, you know, deal here in Maryland this year. Maryland is going to be at the forefront. The way typically Virginia is, you know, you see they're talking about the Virginia Senate races and things of that nature all the time, because Virginia is considered, it could go either blue or red, you know? You always talk about my red ties. Maryland could go the same way.
We got a blue shirt on today.
Hey. But Maryland could go either way. I mean, there's a possibility, I think.
I think it can go either way. I'm going to tell you, Angela Alsobrooks has put herself, and Hogan, both of them, they ran strategically for the different races that they ran to have the different positions that they had, okay, so they could move them to the next level, okay, and that's exactly what both of them did, okay, and that's why.
And Miss Alsobrooks is very well qualified. She has done, I think, an excellent job running Prince George's County as county executive. I think she did a really good job as state's attorney. That's a very difficult job. That job will eat up the best of people.
And so that's why I'm saying it's a very difficult race, because those people that Hogan did a great job as a governor, okay? Those people that have watched Angela Alsobrooks move through her career, just like they watched Governor Hogan run through, you know, the different positions he had. And then you have David Trone, which has been advertising for forever. Nobody knew who he was, but
some of those commercials will bring tears to your eyes.
That's right, and that's what I was getting ready to say, because they said that even though that people didn't know who he was a very poor person at one time in his life, but he became a very prominent person, you know, business-wise, okay? But the people that he has touched, the topics that he has touched, somebody asked him on the news last night, well, do you think that you running, does it mean money that's going to make you win, or does it mean the topic? He says, very much the topic. It's very much what we stand for is how we're going to win this race, okay? And I agree with him. We should be looking at the topics, not who is rich and who's poor. That's not going to do nothing for your pocketbook, okay? It's going to do something for theirs, okay? But we need to look at the topics and see what these people, because all three of those people are powerful people, okay, at this point. And you need to look, and I don't endorse anyone.
And they're very well, and all three of them are very well qualified.
They are very well qualified, and you know, I love all three of them, I'm going to tell you the truth, okay? So it's going to be very hard that I have to do my homework again, too. You understand? But it's a short period of time. You have to do your homework, folks. That's May 14th. That if you don't know it, I'm telling you now. May 14th is that election, and it's very important what goes on in the Senate, because all three of them are running for the same position, okay? So you need to pay attention. You need to do your homework. You need to see who's who, what's what, and what they stand for, okay? And David Trone is standing right where he needs to be right now with the issues that are going on right now, you know, in the United States. But, you know, Angela Alsobrooks and the governor have been there, too. You understand what I'm saying?
Angela Alsobrooks has been on the front line. She's been in the trenches.
Yes.
When you are Prince George's County State's attorney,
yes,
she's been in the trenches.
Yes. So
she has been on the front lines fighting, you know.
Forever.
And you can say the same thing about Larry Hogan.
Yep.
You know?
Sure can. And so it's a tough race. And so I'm telling you, you need to make a decision, because like you said, that, you know, the Senate, how do you want the Senate to flip? You understand what I'm saying? So you need to.
But how historic would it be if Prince George's County's own
flip
became a senator for the state of Maryland? A young black woman.
Female. Who
is very smart, who is very well qualified. How historic would that be? You know, because I always talk about Prince George's County. You know, I'm happy to be here in Prince George's County and working here in Prince George's County. But I just think that would be so historic, you know, that, you know, they should say gorgeous Prince George's.
Yeah.
You know, one of their own.
Yes.
Becomes a United States Senator.
Yes. And I met her in person when Mayor was running. Okay. Yes. You went to that place with us when we heard the mayor speak, and then we went around to the museum, the Black Museum that's over there in Bowie Town Center. Oh, I thought it was a group of us that went around there. She was there as well. And David, Miss Brave Boy, she was there as well, along with supporting the mayor during his election run. But anyway, guys, I want to say, please do your homework. May 14th, okay, please. And I want to thank all of you. Please continue to put me in your prayers, because I still need prayers. I'm not 100%. I just sound better today, okay? But I'm not 100%. Don't look until I lost at least 15 pounds.
You look good.
Well, that wasn't because I was trying. It just happened, okay, for being sick. Okay, but, you know, keep us in your prayers, and I thank you again for being here. And we'll see Donald next week, and we might see Mr. Levin next week. He might be here, and he might not, you know. He's a loan modification guy that when we have the two of them together, you know, it's a good mix. So, but if not, Mr. Bell, Attorney Bell, will definitely be here next week. And we want to say good night.
God willing, thank you.
Yeah, God willing.
And get out and vote.
That's both of us. God
Get out and
willing.
vote. Yes,
Yeah.
God willing.
Yeah. So we're gonna say good night.